Hello, hello. Magandang umaga, magandang hapon, magandang gabi sa mga nanonood po. Salamat po sa pag-tune in at itutuloy po natin ang ating aralin sa ating lesson 14 po tayo. Ngayon, natigil po ako doon sa chapter 24 verse 33 last time. Ngayon, ang itutuloy po natin ay sa verse 49 to verse 67. Ija-jump po natin yung part na nag-relate ang servant ni Abraham kay Bethuel at Laban. That is from verses 34 to 48 bale. So ija-jump po natin kasi relation po yan ng mga nangyari sa kanyang journey as guided by the Lord. Okay, so ang itatitle po natin sa ating aralin ngayon ay Meeting the Groom. Ito po yung kung paano nag-meet sila Isaac at Rebekah. So let us journey in this and I hope that you will finish this video. Sa mga nanonood po na hindi pa nag-subscribe, please click subscribe po. At para ma-notify kayo sa mga susunod kong video, ay pakiclick na lang po yung notification bell sa tabi ng subscribe button para kayo po ay ma-update sa mga videos na i-upload ko pa po. Okay, so maraming salamat and let us learn together. Kung may mga katanungan kayo at mga pagkukulang na gusto nyong idagdag, paki-comment na lang po dito sa baba ng video na ito. At saka titingnan ko po yan, babasahin ko po yan. Okay po, so I will be reading from the NIV of Genesis chapter 24 verses 49 to 67. Meeting the Groom. Ito po yung tinitle ko dito kasi parang mas maganda po siyang anggulong tingnan natin kung paano nag-meet sila Isaac at Rebekah. And then later on, i-explain ko kung bakit ito yung anggulo na gusto kong tingnan natin. Although, yung lesson natin is about guidance in God's guidance in care. So, it also goes sa topic na ito. Okay, so, I will read. Sabi po dito, Now if you are willing to show kindness and faithfulness to my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, so I may know which way to turn. Laban and Bethuel answered, This is from the Lord. We can say nothing to you one way or the other. Here is Rebekah, take her and go, and let her become the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has directed. When Abraham's servant heard what they said, he bowed down to the ground before the Lord. Then the servant brought out gold and silver jewelry and articles of clothing and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave costly gifts to her brother and to her mother. Then he and his men who were with him ate and drank and spent the night there. When they got up the next morning, he said, Send me on my way to my master. But her brother and her mother replied, Let the girl remain with us 10 days or so, then you may go. But he said to them, Do not detain me. Now that the Lord has granted success to my journey, send me on my way so I may go to my master. Then they said, Let's call the girl and ask her about it. So they called Rebekah and asked her, Will you go with this man? I will go, she said. So they sent their sister Rebekah on her way, along with her nurse and Abraham's servant and his men, and they blessed Rebekah and said to her, Our sister, may you increase to thousands upon thousands, and may your offspring possess the gates of their enemies. Then Rebekah and her maids got ready and mounted their camels and went back with the men. So the servant took Rebekah and left. Now Isaac had come from Beer-lahai-roi, for he was living in the Negev. He went out to the field one evening to meditate, and as he looked up, he saw camels approaching. Rebekah also looked up and saw Isaac. She got down from her camel and asked the servant, Who is that man in the field coming to meet us? He is my master, the servant answered. So she took her veil and covered herself. Then the servant told Isaac all he had done. Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah, and he married Rebekah. So she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So that is the word of God from chapter 24 of Genesis, verses 49 to 33. May God bless his word. Now, I was saying that we will look at this, I will entitle this message as Meeting the Groom. Okay, meeting the groom means that there are two parties, the groom and the bride. Now, in this case, we will look at more of in the bride's side. Okay, because we are all or mostly women. And as a church, we are told in Revelations chapter 21 verse 2 and Ephesians chapter 5 verses 23 to 26 that we are the church. We the church are the bride, is the bride of Christ, the groom. Okay, so let us look at the servant Rebekah and all the characters in this story. Now, there are 5 things that I want, events actually. There are 5 events that I want to point out in this story of Isaac and Rebekah. First thing is, the servant went to look for Rebekah. And where was Rebekah living? She was living at Aram Naharaim. Aram Naharaim is found in Mesopotamia these days. This is Mesopotamia, and Haran is in the north side of Mesopotamia. Okay, Haran in the Hebrew word means a parched land. Now, if it refers to a person, because Haran also is the father of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Haran as a person means a mountaineer. Okay. Mesopotamia basically means a land between waters. A land between waters. And what are those waters? They are the rivers of the Euphrates River and the Tigris River. That is from the Genesis, in the Garden of Eden. There were 3 great rivers that were flowing from the Garden of Eden, and the 2 of them was the Tigris River and the Euphrates River. Okay, so Mesopotamia is in between those great rivers. Okay, Aram Naharaim was where these people were living. Rebekah and her family. They were Laban, Bethuel, Nahor, Milcah. Nahor means a snorting man. Snorting indicates that a person is an indignant person, a self-righteous person. Haran or Haran means a mountaineer. And Laban. Last time the author was asking how we could describe Laban's character. And from that attitude that he showed, we can say that he is a double standard person. He shows kindness to that stranger because he saw something good. Okay? And then later on, he did not want to release Rebekah. Okay? When he saw the nose ring and the gold bracelets of his sister, then he went to meet the man immediately and treated the stranger as very good, as an important guest. That is one way of seeing a double standard person. Now, the second point, so the first point is that Rebekah was living among these people and in Haran or in Mesopotamia, where it can be It can be said that it's a parched land or a fertile land, Mesopotamia. Okay, and the second point is the servant gave the bride and her family bridal gifts, which they willingly accepted. We have noted that, we have read that in the passage. And third thing is that the bride was made to choose for herself. She was not dictated. Although she was guided, but she was still asked. She has the choice. Okay? And the fourth thing we saw is that the groom was coming from Bir Lahai-roi. Or the bride saw that the groom was coming from Bir Lahai-roi. Bir Lahai-roi means the well of him that lives and sees me. If you remember the concubine of Abraham, or no, it's the servant of Sarah that bore Ismael. When Sarah drove her away from home and she went to the desert, and God opened her eyes and saw the well, the spring, and she named that place Bir Lahai-roi because she saw the one that sees her, she said. So that basically means a place or the well of him that lives and sees me. Okay, so the fifth point I want us to see is that the groom Isaac took Rebekah in his home, and he loved her. Okay, so there are two angles that I want us to look at this situation. As a church, we look at this as a church. The main points I have enumerated. Let us look at them in the angle of the church. Okay, as a church, we saw that the servant of Abraham went looking for Rebekah. The servant of Abraham can be the prophet sent by God to proclaim God's message to the world where sinful men dwell. Okay. Prophets, the servant of Abraham, can represent the prophets sent by God to proclaim the good news to the sinful world, to the people at Aram Naharaim, to indignant people, to double standard people, to wandering people, in a place where people are living in a parched land, in the desert, or in Mesopotamia, which represents maybe luxuries or wealth, worldly wealth. Okay. So those are the prophets, the servants of God. Okay. And second point is, coupled with the good news, or the gospel that the prophets, that the people of God brought, are the blessings that come with the good news of the gospel. Coupled with the good news of salvation are blessings that come with the good news. It may not be necessarily materially, because Jesus said in Matthew 6:33 that if we seek first his kingdom, then all these things will be added unto us as well. So those are the bridal gifts that God is giving us. When we seek first his kingdom, then all these things that we desire for His glory will be added unto us as well. Okay? So, third point is that we are given, as Rebekah was given the choice to choose whether to go or not, we as a church are given the choice whether to follow God or to stay in our sinful world. Get it? Okay. So, are we willing to leave our pleasures, our old life, to follow Christ? And fourth thing is, we choose to follow. When we choose to follow Christ or to go with the prophets or with the teachings of the servants of God, to believe and go to Christ, as Isaac was coming from Bir Lahai, so is also Christ taking most of the steps to meet us. Sabi nga ng mga iba, if we take the first step, if there were 100 steps and we were willing to take the first step, God will cover the rest of the 99 steps to meet us. Yan ang mga sabi ng mga poets, diba? Okay, so basically we can see that principle na ganun din. That is true. When we picture Christ with all His grace and His mercy and His love, it's not impossible that He will do that. Okay, so when we choose to go to Him, He will be willing to meet us. And the fifth thing is, He is willing to take us. He is very willing to take us back with Him and live with Him and love. He show our love to us. Of course, He still loves us when we were yet sinners, but the fullness of His love will be there when we are with Him in His kingdom. Okay, so those are the points that I want us to understand in here. I hope that you have picked that up. And now I want to look at another angle as single women. For the single women out there. Okay, I will be coming from the whole whole chapter of chapter 24. Okay, so the Bible in the chapter describes Rebekah here as old enough to marry. Maybe she was about 18 and above, old enough to marry, and she was still a virgin. It means to say to us that ladies should preserve themselves for their future husbands. That's basically what it is saying. She was still a virgin, and nobody has ever laid with her. Sorry. And second point is that she was working when the servant of Abraham found her. She was not an idle daughter of a rich person. Although it was mentioned that she had servants who went with her when she went with the servant of Abraham. There were servants following her. So it means to say that they were rich. Okay, they have servants, but yet she is still working. She had a good social interaction. So how would she entertain a stranger so efficiently, so effectively, if she does not have a good social interrelation? Okay. So this is an encouragement to our ladies, to us ladies, to you ladies. Okay, don't be shy, don't be introverted, don't be isolated. Go out and meet strangers, but maintain a good reputation. Okay? It does not mean that if you go out and flirt with everyone or every man you can meet there. No. Having a good social and healthy social relationship does not necessarily mean you have to flirt. Okay. It is a healthy social life to be able to intermingle with other people and meet who God has prepared for you. Who knows? Maybe God is using those social gatherings or events for you to meet the one God has prepared for you. Okay, so third point is that she was made to choose whether to go and be married or remain in his father's house and be single. Okay, some of us ladies prefer to just stay at home and serve our family. Of course, that is also a gift. But it is a choice. Yun nga, we were given the choice. Nabigyan tayo ng choice. As Rebekah was given the choice, she could have stayed at home because it was indeed a very far travel. Nag-alangan pa ngayon kapatid niya, yung mother niya, kung papahintulutan siya o hindi. Pero yung choice niya, nakita natin yung choice niya. Maybe it was because she has a good social standing also. That's why she was willing to take the risk. So what's the lesson here? You will not know your husband even if you're living together. You will not know each other. Hindi mo makikilala ang isang tao sa isang taon, 2 taon, kahit yung mag-asawa na nakatira sa isang bubong, hindi pa yan magkakakilala. You will not expect to know a person completely by giving yourself a span of time. Give yourself a lifetime to know a person, even your spouse. So, what am I saying here? Be willing to take the risk. Take the risk. Of course, pray for God's guidance. But do not be afraid to take the risk. If you know that you are guided by the Lord and you have prayed for it, God will speak to you. But don't be afraid to obey. If the Lord was speaking to you na He has shown you the natural circumstances of a favorable marriage, don't be skeptic and don't let your fear hold you back. Okay? Marriage is a two-way process. No one really knows someone entirely by living with him or her in just a period of time. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Okay? So, sabi ko nga kanina, even intimate couples will find themselves stranger with each other. If you wait to get to know your man entirely before you marry him, I doubt you will know him. You will know him completely. At least you will know him about 40%, but the rest he will not really reveal his true self unless you spend your lifetime with him. Okay? So take a step, come out of your comfort zone, and meet your groom. Come out from your comfort zone and meet your groom. Okay, so that is basically, it's a bit more practical and secular, but we can see the principle of Rebekah here, meeting her groom. It is a risk. It is a risk. But the comforting thing is the servant of God was with her. Okay? The servant of God, the servant of Abraham was with Rebekah when she decided to meet her groom. What is that saying to us? We should seek our spiritual leaders. We should seek those who know the Lord